Hey everybody, what's up? Ingrid Pauline here, your Wise Women Weightlifting Coach. I just wanted to check in and say hi. I've got a couple of cool things coming up for the summer, and saying hello in person, so to speak, is kind of one of them. So I know that a lot of you, especially, I know that a lot of you ladies have been looking for a better way to train. And I talk a lot about this all over Twitter. I talk about this in my blog posts. I talk about this to pretty much anybody who will listen to me open my big darn mouth. But like women, we need to be training differently than men. And it's just a fact. It's not that you don't need a weight lift. It's not that you should stay away from weights. It's not that you need to stay away from aggressive exercise at all. In fact, we should be doing these things, but we just need to use our applied knowledge a little bit differently. So, um, and like, I especially know that like there's a lot of women, most women want like strong and shapely legs. Like they just want, those sleek athletic legs that look great in a mini skirt and they moved really swiftly and just look fantastic. And I know that, like we strive a lot for it. And if you're a woman who's been working on any sort of like large muscle group, like lower body, it's pretty tough to just keep pounding the same muscle group over and over again and just do these like long, intense 6 to 8 week strength cycles where you just go up and up and up. You have a week of deload and then you go up and up and up. We could deload because quite frankly, like that just doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for your body. It doesn't work for our mental and emotional health. It just doesn't work like that. Listen, I've been training people for 12 years now. In some capacity, it used to be injury rehabilitation and prevention, and now it's women's health. I've been doing CrossFit for 7 years, and I've been focusing primarily on just women for 5, almost 6 years now. I started off with postnatal fitness, but it quickly grew like wildfire because there were just so many gaps in the knowledge that women had as far as like real hardcore training was and just fitness in general. So I have worked extremely hard to fill in those gaps. And one of my missions is just to get more women training using their menstrual cycle as like a timing, as like a health report card, and also to get people. I want to get sports science studying women more and just women. I know we're complex to study because we have fluctuating hormones, but that's why it's all the more important that we have valid information for women. So let me explain this to you all together. Strength adaptations are a hormonal response to stress. That means your strength gains, the muscle you put on, the strength that you gain from weightlifting, putting 50 pounds on your squat or whatever it is, that is a hormonal response to stress. That is your hormone saying, hey, we need to do something different. We need more muscles. We need to work harder. Um, and then your body sends out the human growth hormone and uses protein and a bunch of nutrients to make muscle. And that's how that works. So if strength adaptation is a hormonal response to stress, then it would make sense that there are different hormonal adaptations as your hormones fluctuate. Let me say that again. So if strength is a hormonal adaptation to stress, then obviously you are going to adapt differently if your hormones are fluctuating. See, men tend to they go through a daily hormone cycle, and their like physiological health report card is their boner. Like if you're waking up with a woody every day, good for you. Everything's in order. If you're not, you're overly stressed, and we need to look at how much sunshine, your diet, your exercise, your stress level, everything. So women also have a hormonal health report card, and it's your menstrual cycle. It tells you so much, and it's super important to track it. Okay. So, while if you want to be training for your hormonal cycle, what happens is that your estrogen goes way up in the first portion of your cycle before you ovulate. That means through your menstruation, through the follicular phase, right before you ovulate. Then you ovulate, and it goes down during the luteal phase. During the progesterone, on the other hand, stays kind of low. And then at the end, at the luteal phase, it goes up. Testosterone in women, it slightly goes up. It peaks at the ovulation, and then it goes way down in the luteal phase. Okay. So we have estrogen and testosterone coming up during the follicular phase and the ovulation phase in our cycle. And this is when we are the most set up to make strength trainings. This is the most set up to make muscular adaptations. So if you want to train for a heavier squat, if you want to train for a marathon, if you want to train for power, if you want to train for stuff that requires a fair amount of strength and power, this is where you train. Okay, this is where you do agility drills and stuff, except agility during ovulation is a little bit different because you have a higher increase to like strains and breaks because your joints are a little bit more lax. So if you play stuff like soccer, you have to make quick turns or turning jumps or something like that. You got to kind of watch that. But still, like nobody, if you're competing, if you're training, actually no life it doesn't need strength and power. This is the first thing we lose when we age is strength and power. So it's important to train these things. Even if you're not training it directly, training for strength and training for power is going to get the body that you want. It's going to get nice toned legs, a firm butt. It's going to get like abs that, I don't know, maybe you want 6-pack abs. Maybe you just want like kind of cut abs. Like that's fine, but it's going to get that toned, beautiful, sleek, shapely, athletic look that so many of us are striving for. Like it actually takes a fair amount of work to get there, but it can be fun and it doesn't have to be grueling and it doesn't have to go in 6 and 8 week cycles. And if you're training with your hormonal cycle, you are more likely to go in the gym and want to do your workout. Okay. So we talked about the first portion, and then during the luteal phase, this is the time, since progesterone, that's more catabolic, testosterone and estradiol are more anabolic, so they like more building. Catabolic means breaking down. So that's the luteal phase. And this is the stuff when you want to do mobility work, accessory, endurance work, stuff like that. Okay. So it goes up and down. And so we, as women, we need to be training on a 4-week cycle. It's just how our brain goes. It's just how our body goes. And you will be so much happier that you're going to wake up and go to the gym and you don't have this absolutely ridiculous to-do list to take care of when you're like, frankly, just not feeling it. Anyway, so you're going to be like, okay, that's great. But like, what if I'm training legs every day? How do I get around that? It's like, okay, fine. You can train legs every day. No, don't train legs every day. Excuse me. If you are training during your hormonal cycle, like in sync with your hormonal cycle, you would know to go heavy during the first leg heavy during the first portion of your cycle, and then do upper body and mobility during the last portion of your cycle, because you're not going to be gaining much muscle there in that first portion, right? So we just take advantage of the first portion, go super leg heavy, and then in the second portion of our body, this is our time to like rest and relax and recuperate and like train other portions of our body without losing any of our strength gains from the first portion of the cycle. What if you have PCOS? I get this question all the time. And let me tell you, ladies, it is so important for you to do a diet intervention, a stress intervention, and a workout intervention. Magnesium and zinc are 2 wonderful things that help lower androgen, helps magnesium is really good for the progesterone portion of the cycle, and then zinc is a natural androgen blocker. Okay, if it's insulin resistance, you absolutely have to check out your diet. Okay, there's that. You need a diet intervention. Part 2, you do have to be tracking your period. Get an app, take notes on how you feel, take notes on what your body's doing, how much energy you have. It is absolutely imperative that you still track your cycle, whether it's regular or not, because eventually you're going to see a pattern. You may have irregular periods, but you will have a tendency to have a pattern, and you'll be able to see it. If you can check out day 6 or day 20 after your period and you like see a pattern about how you feel, then that'll give you more information as to whether you should be doing phase 1, phase 2, or phase 3 workouts, your follicular, your ovulatory, or your luteal phase workouts. Okay. So if you have PCOS, track. Information is going to be your friend here, and you've got to get into it, and it'll get you more in tune with your body. The other thing that you can do, and this sounds a little woo, but it totally works. I also use it for women who have gone through menopause, is you just sort of time your training with the cycle of the moon. We can get into a whole discussion of why that does or does not work, but this is what I use for women who for my menopausal woman, is that I still use a cyclical a female cyclical phase, as in a 4 week, 2 weeks up, 2.5 weeks up, sort of, and a week and a half down. And this works really, really wonderfully for all of my women. Like I keep all the women that I train on a 4 week cycle of training, unless of course they have like a 5 week cycle, menstrual cycle, or a 3 week menstrual cycle. Okay. So in my next video, I'm going to talk about an athlete that I got the pleasure of. I redid her program to meet up with her particular needs as far as her menstruation goes and her energy level goes. I worked with a coach. We'll talk about that. And then we'll actually talk about a lot of the case studies that were done on the research that I use in order to make all of my programs and training programs and teach myself and others. Anyway, so if you like this video, please feel free to share it. I would absolutely love that, because I believe that every single human, every single woman, every single person that menstruates needs to absolutely have this information in their back pocket. Absolutely. I think it's a necessity. So please share it. And if you liked it, please give me a shout out on Twitter. Twitter handle at Ingri Pauline, INGRI Of course, most of you already know that, so it's wonderful. Hey, Twitter fam. Anyway, just give me a shout out, either reply to this email, or even better, like, I would absolutely love to see your comments and questions on Twitter. And yeah, looking forward to my next video, to talking to you again. Happy training. Bye.